everyone. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. As always, I'm Sum.
And I'm Cody, and this is Cody Sum, and we are the duo who does more than each other.
So today we're going to talk about different sexual preferences, top, bottom, verse, and a newer one to us, sides, which I'm sure it's been around a while. It's a term I've just recently been hearing.
I've only known it a couple months. I think this is a good discussion to have because when I first came out, I had no idea how to navigate sex with a man. Your parents are like, oh, you can't see that because you're young, and like if there's sex in movies, but it's always men, women. So you kind of get an idea of it if you're straight, but like if you're gay, for our age anyway, no idea how to even go about it at first.
Do you remember the first time you figured out like how men have sex?
I think it was from the movie Brokeback Mountain.
Really? Yeah. That was a horrible example. They make it seem like you could just go in, no lube, no spit, no lubrication at all. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be the worst. I think I remember one of my first experiences realizing kind of how dudes did it was Queer as Folk, which is why I wanted to rewatch that series with you, because that show did mean a lot to me because I watched it in secret for a few years. I remember one time I was staying at my dad's and he had left me at the house. I was maybe like 12 or 13, but he had left to go to an AA meeting. So I was at the house by myself and I was just scrolling through TV and Queer as Folk was on. At one point, the two characters start to go at it and they're in bed, he's lying face down and the guy climbs on top of him. And I remember just getting so aroused by it, not knowing what I was even watching, but I got so aroused by it. And I didn't know, but I just knew that I really liked what I was seeing.
Yeah.
I don't really remember when I kind of realized that I wanted to top more than bottom, because people we know, I know when they've come out, they're like, oh yeah, I knew I wanted to be a bottom, or I knew I just kind of wanted to top.
I don't think I ever really classified myself as anything. I just adapted to whoever I was dating. And I just dated a lot of tops. So I think I eventually I'm a bottom, I guess. But I remember when I first came out, I was like, I'm not going to do that ever. We'll get into it, but I guess that would technically be a side, but I didn't know that terminology back then.
The perks of being a top, I guess, as they say, is that you don't have to clean before you do it. There's not prep work.
Yeah.
But the top has to put in most of the work when they're actually in action.
Yeah, there's more pressure to perform.
I think from what I hear, there are a lot of people that don't know how to perform very well.
Yeah. Before I did it, I topped a handful of times. I think it was the pressure to perform kind of situation.
Yeah.
Too. I was a situational bottom.
These days in LA, everyone says that there's all bottoms and no tops anywhere. I do think more men are learning to enjoy being submissive because, I don't know, we grow up thinking we have to be so dominant and holding our emotions, and at the end of the day, we all just want to be held.
So, if you're newly coming out and you don't know what your sexual preference is, or you think you might know, there's the top, which we just talked about. There's a bottom, which is, I would say I'm more bottom than top. We say we're very verse, but it does take a little more preparation to bottom, especially if you're not, I guess, used to it.
Do you like my performance in the bedroom?
Your performance is A+.
Since I've been out, everyone has always been like, you seem like a bottom. Like, or when I've dated someone, oh, I thought that was the opposite. Like, people always thought I was the bottom.
Yeah. People say that to us when they just meet us, but then once they get to know us, they're like, oh, okay.
I've heard it's the way I walk, that I walk.
Like the stick up your ass.
I don't know, that I walk a certain way that makes people think that I am more of a bottom. Like when I came out, there was a specific type of person that fit into the box, top or more bottom. It was, if you were top, that meant you were the more masculine one. Maybe you were the older one. You were the dominant one, the provider role. Yeah. I love that that's not the thing anymore.
Yeah. We definitely fall under each category if you would still classify it as that.
Yeah. And I love that you can see these, big, beefy men that love to be dominated by little twinks.
Yeah.
And that's great because it should come down to whatever you just want to enjoy, not because of that you're just a bigger guy or you're a masculine person.
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever.
Folds into, your top, your bottom. Those are your kind of your main two labels when you're gay, but then there's versatile, and that's kind of where we
should be verse.
We always say if you're not verse, you're boring, or we're verse because we're grown ups. If you have a Grindr account and you select your options, you see people say verse top, verse bottom. Verse top would obviously be someone who likes the bottom but is more of a top. Verse bottom is someone who likes the bottom more but still tops.
So, and then now we have this new one, sides. Again, I'm sure people are going to get on the comments and be like, sides have been around forever. Like, why would you, how would you be so ignorant? It's something that I am newly hearing about.
Yeah.
We're not really on Grindr, and I know it's been a option on Grindr, I guess. Okay. Someone was saying for a while.
I first heard of it on the gay cruise when some people put on their door like their preferences, and the one guy said sides.
Thank you to the person who commented on our last video about bottoming, mentioning sides, and kind of explained it. So from what I gather, it's someone who does everything in the bedroom except for penetration, anal penetration.
They don't give or receive.
They don't give or receive. They just do everything else.
Yeah, I see. I love jacking off just as much as sex.
There are a lot of couples that just enjoy mutual masturbation, watching porn together, masturbating because it's just easy and simple, and get a lot of fulfillment out of that.
I feel like we could be here for days talking about all the different.
I would love to meet a side.
I'm a verse top. I'm a sub verse top. Well, I would guess I would be a sub verse bottom.
I don't think I'm sub or dom. I can be whatever I need to be.
But when people say submissive and dominant, like how submissive, how dominant? If it's a spectrum, I feel like I fall in the middle.
I don't
maybe a
think
little over to submission. I don't want you to like act like I'm your like servant kind of thing.
That's bottom versus power bottom.
Oh yeah, power too. Power. Yeah. There's so many adjectives.
Power bottom would be what you're talking about, where it's like they're treating you like just like filth.
No, power bottom is when the bottom is taking it.
Okay, we could get correction in the comments, but for me, a dominant bottom would be someone who like you're riding, you're in control, like you're doing a lot of that work. Submissive would be that you are laying there or letting the top
is
make
in control.
make the moves of like what position you're in, how hard or how fast you're going. Power bottom would be like you're just getting railed, like maybe their foot's in your mouth, like, you know, maybe they're spitting on you. I don't know. I would think like that would be like power bottom.
Oh wow.
So that's how I would.
That's not how I ever looked at power bottom, but maybe I should.
That's how I would look at it.
I would not be a power bottom then. I don't think people should be afraid to bottom because they're afraid it's going to hurt. It's something you just got to give it a shot. And I think that was like my biggest thing, because when I did it finally, I love the bottom. Like that's my preference. If it hurts you, like maybe you should sit on it because you can control how fast it's going in and the pressure and stuff like that. Don't just become a top and never bottom and just say, oh, I don't like to bottom.
There have definitely been some guys that we've met that they are just tops where it's like, that is fine because that is all I want from you.
Yeah.
They're great at it, but it has sucked when we've met a top and they only want a top, but then they just want to lie there and their energy level is very lacking. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is so boring.
We like tops with energy, I guess.
I had this one friend in Orange County. So this would have been like when I was about 25, and that group that I would hang out with at that time, like in Long Beach and stuff, he was a bottom, but every time I would like go on a friend, like I would go out and I would hook up with someone, he was in a relationship, you know, I'd come back and he'd be like, oh, did you bottom? Oh, were you a bottom? Oh, you bottom, didn't you? Like, and he would like, I know you're just kidding, but like, and he also was a bottom mostly, but it was like he was making fun of me if I was the bottom. And it just kind of, I just remember that was that feeling of, like, oh, is being a bottom lesser?
Yeah, it's
and
so weird.
I hated that, and so that's why I always like on here really like to talk about that. No, being a bottom is so cool, and I'm very verse. I guess you like to say I'm a verse top, but I feel like I'm very verse.
Oh, and you know we do joke and we're like, if you're not verse, you're boring, but never let anybody make you feel bad if you're a top and not a bottom, or a bottom and not a top.
We love our tops too.
You just need to get out there and figure out what your preference is. I didn't know there were so many back when I was younger. It took me years to appreciate all the different ways we can have sex or who you can be during sex as a gay man. You need to get to a point in your sexual awakening where you just appreciate all aspects. And I feel like since I've been dating you, that's kind of what happened. I feel like I closed myself off before I met you to a lot of possibilities. Like I don't even think my ass was eaten until I met you.
I love that we've also tried quite a few new things lately. First time in a sling just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Giving and receiving, like that was so fun. We went to a house party and they had a whole.
We've been in a sling before though.
I have not bottomed on a sling. All of that was a first. Of that was a first, and that was so cool. So even you and I are trying new things lately.
Yeah,
but I know someone would hear that and be like, "Oh, you're so vanilla. You haven't done sex in a sling before?" But no, I had not.
I consider us vanilla. I like being a little vanilla.
Another guy that same weekend like was, you know, topping and I was bottoming, and he had me calling him daddy, and he was telling me that I was a good boy and stuff, and I was like, whoa, like
I heard it.
I don't think anyone ever had like done it in that way that was so smooth and just felt like he was saying it at all the right times. All right, well, that's all we got today. If you like this video, then hit that like, subscribe button. Definitely subscribe to us. We do a video every week on just random little topics like this. And if you have any information for us on sides, let us know.
Or any new topics that you'd like us to cover, let us know.
Yeah, that too. We definitely would love to hear, maybe
dig in for some every day.
Yeah, definitely would love to hear in the comments maybe a topic or two that you would like to hear about. We'll make it happen.
Great.
All right, bye.
Thanks.